Hi guys, and welcome back to Monada Games. My name is Monique and today we are doing a cottage speed build. I recently bought Cottage Living and I've been itching to build a cottage house, so I am using a reference photo from Pinterest. I'm trying to change it up a little bit. I will add it on screen so that you can see what I'm talking about. I try to change bits and pieces, but of course I kept certain areas of the build that I really enjoyed. But I am trying to use this Pinterest photo as inspiration. I'm not trying to copy it to a T. So I really liked the original layout of the Pinterest photo, and so I did copy that bit. And then I did also like how in the front they had like an entryway before you get to the door. I don't know exactly what that's called, but I kept that part in because I really enjoyed how it looked, so I made sure to add that into this build. Now the windows are very similar, and then like the door placement as well is similar to the original photo. Now the greenery that I'm going to add, that is a little bit different, but I really wanted to make sure that I added in this front area because I liked the way that it looked and I hadn't done it in one of my builds before. So I definitely added that in. And then I like the bay window back here. Some of the things that I'm adding in the back and especially on the side that aren't pictured in the photo, I'm just making it up as I go. I really wanted to add a lot of green to this build because we are in Henford-on-Bagley. So I wanted to make sure that it fit with the area. And there's certain bits that I add and take away just because I like it at the time, and then I start adding other things and then it just doesn't work out. So you will see me place greenery and take it away. And then I felt like this section of the house was missing a window, so I added one in. And then of course, usually I forget the lights that go outside, but I made sure to add those in this time. A lot of the items that I'm adding to this house are from Cottage Living, but I do use all the packs that I do have. I'm not adding any CC into this build because I am going to upload it to the gallery in case you like this build. Now for the pathway, I am using a stone pathway and then I'm lining it with stones as well. Now this did take a little bit of time because I don't have, I think it's Better Built by Texted or Twisted Mexi. I don't have that mod, and so I had to go back and forth and pull the rocks to create the pathway. And then I had an idea of adding a little bit of greenery underneath this front window, and then I decided to extend that rock pathway and line it with more stones as well. I really like how the stones look just because it kind of pulls everything together just slightly, you know. This front area I did have trouble with, but we will get to that in a second. I wanted to add in some more greenery to the front, some bushes, and a table to this front area. And I was going to add in some sand around it, but it just didn't fit very well. So I do end up changing that up a little bit, but you'll see that in a second when, yes, right here. So I'm adding in the sand and I do like how it looks, but as I continue to add greenery to the house, I did have a hard time connecting it to another pathway or just so that it made sense because I didn't want the Sims to, you know, technically walk over the rocks to get to that sitting area. So I do change that up a little bit. But this front area in front of the front door, I did have trouble with this section just because I didn't know where to literally place anything. So what I ended up doing is adding in a foraging table and then also the flower arranging table to either side. And then I changed the door. Instead of the door being on the right side, I had it going right in front. So then that way it just made a little bit more sense. Once I had that front area planned out, I started to map out the floor plan on the inside of the house. I wanted it to be a 2-bedroom house and one bathroom and a kitchen. And the inside I just made up myself. I didn't look at any photos, but I think in the end it does end up making sense. I was gonna have the kitchen in this corner here just because it made the most sense to me. And so I'm gonna go ahead and line up all of these cabinets. These ones are from Cottage Living. I personally like blue, so I made the kitchen blue. There's no really rhyme or reason other than I like blue, so they're gonna have a blue kitchen. And I think it turned out really, really cute. And I also added in the hood vent. I made sure to add cabinets up top just to complete the kitchen a little bit better. And then I really like these Cottage Living cabinets just because they don't all look the same, because I know there's one from Base Game where you can change the sizes of the cabinets, but it doesn't look like there's dishes or curtains or anything in it. So I really enjoyed that bit of Cottage Living. Once I had the kitchen pretty much mapped out, I went ahead and added some wallpaper to all of the rooms. Now the twins, they are fraternal twins, so it's a boy and a girl. I made his room blue and hers like a light purple, and then the main area is just an off-white. And then I did the flooring all the same throughout the house except for in the bathroom. And I was gonna have the rooms be identical, like the beds being on the same side and the dressers being on the same side, but I thought that was too samey, if that's a word. So I changed up the bedrooms so that they looked a little bit different, and I added different dressers and then also different beds just so that the twins had their own personality and own style. Their current living situation, they actually live in San Myshuno, so they kind of live that city life. This is something different for them, but their dad does have a garden at their house. They do have chickens at their house, and so the son Andre, he actually is an animal lover, so that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to get them in their own space. They are turning young adults here soon, and so by the time they turn young adults, I would like them to be living in this house and just living that country life just because of the pack for Cottage Living. So I wanted to make sure this house was done before they got into their young adult life stage. Now this bathroom though, I did have some trouble with it just because I wasn't sure how to get the layout done properly so that it actually made sense. So you will see me fiddle with it, but eventually I am able to get the shower and toilet on one side, and then I'm gonna go in and add a few more cabinets to the sink here just so that this whole side of the wall is covered, and then I'll add in a mirror so that it makes sense when you walk in, because currently it doesn't entirely make too much sense, but it will in a minute. So I decided to make the bathroom green because I feel like green is really calming. So I was gonna do a standalone sink, but I decided to make the cabinets first, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add in a sink fixture in the center of the cabinets. And then I was going to use this mirror because it's one of my favorites, but it didn't line up well on the wall and I couldn't move it anywhere else. So this is my second favorite set of mirrors because it will cover the whole wall and it just looks cute, right? So I am going to go ahead and decorate a little bit more on the outside of the house and just kind of fill it up with a little bit of clutter. Once that's done, I'm gonna add in my chicken coop. Now, I learned from previously having chickens with their dad that the chickens would get out and then I would leave and I would be missing chickens. So for this specific house, I wanted to make sure that the chickens couldn't go anywhere, but they could still get to the garden. So the garden is right in front of the chicken coops. I am going to add in a rabbit hut or rabbit home. I'm also going to add in the section for the birds. And then I wanted some bigger animals like cows and llamas, so I added those in there. And then I'm just adding some hay bits to add clutter to the area. So I am gonna go ahead and fence in these chickens, and I'm realizing shortly you'll see that I'm gonna change up how the fence is currently working, because on the left side of the chicken coops I am gonna add a garden, like why can I think right now? I'm gonna add the greenhouse to the left, and then but before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and add in a little bit more of these bushes. I'm gonna move over these large barns so that one, they're together, but also so then I can add in my greenhouse that I was talking about, because I also wanted the chickens to be able to go inside of the greenhouse. So I needed the greenhouse to be fenced in as well, because like I said before, I didn't want the chickens to get lost or just disappear, because my plan is with the twins is that they only make money through doing side quests for the residents of Henford-on-Bagley. So I needed the chickens to stay put because we're gonna need their eggs, and then also I need the oversized crops to be fertilized by the chickens. I think that's what they do, because then the rabbits, I think they get the weeds, and then the birds, I feel like, get all of the bugs. So I'm trying to make my cottage house functional and to make it make sense when I'm on the farm. So I added in the planter boxes and some for the trees as well, and then I used moved objects for the sprinkler system. I saw James Turner do this, and this way when the sprinklers are on, they will actually water the entire garden, not just half of it. So the garden is pretty much done. I wanted to add in the clothesline in the back and then the washing bin. I mainly did this because I wanted the cottage experience, and so I didn't add actual washer and dryers, and that's also because I didn't want to have to expand the house to add a washroom, because I would have needed to move the bookcase that's in the house. But that is the end of the build. I hope you enjoyed it. I really like how the house turned out. I like the blue tones of the house. I like the brown and the pops of color. It just kind of brings the whole house together, I think. And if you enjoyed this build, make sure you go ahead and leave this video a like, comment, or subscribe. That would be cool too. And my gamer ID is the same as my game name on here, which is Monada Games. And yeah, if you want to download it from the gallery, I highly suggest it. There's no CC, so don't worry about that. And thanks again for watching. I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye.